Hi everyone, I am Becky Madujemu. Welcome to my channel. Please like this video, and if you have not subscribed, do so right away. Why am I coming with this analysis almost 2 weeks after the news broke that Nigeria's richest woman, one-time world's richest black woman, Folorunsho Alakija, and her husband have gone their separate ways? Why am I coming late with this analysis? Well, I had to take my time because I doubted the authenticity of the story. I didn't believe it, not for a minute. So I had to wait it out. I was hoping that they would come and debunk it. After all, they have a vibrant PR team. So I was expecting that along the line, she was going to come forward and say, no, I'm still with my husband, we're happy, it's fake news. But nobody came forward to debunk it. And you know what they say? Silence is consent. So I am forced to believe that indeed Folorunsho and Modukwe, that's her husband's name, Alakija, have gone their separate ways. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the couple and factors that would make a couple of that age, or couples, older couples, split. Not most of you know much about Folorunsho Alakija, apart from the fact that she's a very wealthy woman. Our story is not a grass to grace story. It is a grace to grace story. She was born with a silver spoon. She actually went to school abroad when she was just 10 years old. She was born in Nigeria and her parents could afford it. Okay, well, at that time, it was easy to go abroad and school, but only the elites used to do that. So our family was quite above average, way above average, to have done that, to have invested in their children, more so the girl child at that time. And she rose through the corporate world after her school. She worked with the Bank of Chicago. She did a lot of stints in the financial world too, until she decided to pursue a passion for fashion. Wow, that rhymed, right? Passion for fashion. She was a fashion designer. That's where most people recognized her as a celeb, because she founded Supreme Stitches, which later became Rose of Sharon Fashion. She did a lot of charity work at the time. But the most important aspect of her job as a fashion designer was working closely with the then First Lady, the late Mariam Babangida. Mariam Babangida is unarguably the most fashionable First Lady Nigeria ever had. I'm not even kidding you. She dressed to the nines constantly. Women across Nigeria waiting to see what she was going to wear. There was a time Princess Diana came to Nigeria on a working visit. And the British press compared Diana and Mariam Babangida's fashion sense. And they gave Mariam Babangida the props because she looked so good in all the outfits during that visit. Guess who was behind Mariam's look? It was Folorunsho Alakija. She was that talented. And she had a lot of rich clients. When Folorunsho Alakija got that oil block allocation, people naturally said it was Mariam Babangida that made it happen. We believed that for the longest time because they had a close friendship, until Folorunsho Alakija came forward in 2021 or so to say no, Mariam Babangida was not instrumental to her getting that oil block allocation. It was by her own effort. She had approached ministers of petroleum until she got the oil block allocation that made her the richest black woman. She was even richer than the Oprah at one time. So people condemned her for denying Mariam's participation in her wealth, but she says it's her truth. We can't argue with that. One thing about the person of Folorunsho Alakija, something I've discovered, she's someone who likes to live her truth. When God called her to the ministry, she answered and she made it known. She didn't sugarcoat it. She didn't try to make it look like a vocation. It became a full-time occupation. You find her in street corners preaching the word of God. You find her on the altar. She travels far and wide to minister. And it's quite humbling to see. So she's that kind of woman who answers to God and not to man. There was a time she toned down on her fashion. As a matter of fact, she stopped wearing jewelry. Gold and diamonds, which she had in abundance, she put them away. I hope she didn't throw them away. I hope she didn't throw them away. I hope she gave them to people who need them. I say this because when I was growing up, when I was about 5 years old, my mother found God in a deeper way, in fact, in a deeper life format. And she threw away her gold, everything jewelry in that house, into the septic pit. God should have shared amongst her daughters. She threw them away because that was what the conviction was at that time. But later she read the Bible through and through and said, I'll start wearing jewelry again. But the gold of the ones she used to wear her husband, my father, were all gone. She started afresh, but didn't amass so much. So I'm hoping that Folorunsho Alakija did not throw it away. She gave her jewelry to people who would appreciate. I'm just joking, don't mind me. She came forward and she revealed to us that God had told her to stop it. At first, she didn't believe that it was the voice of God until her earlobe started to bleed. Then her sister called her to tell her she had a dream that Folorunsho's earlobe got caught or something like that, or she lost her earlobe. And so she knew that was the confirmation and she stopped. So she's that kind of person who hears from God and obeys it to the letter. We don't have the facts about the separation yet. No one is saying anything. But I believe that maybe God spoke to her to end the marriage. Because this is the same woman who, where are my glasses? This is the same woman who in an interview talked about her husband and how humble she is in that marriage. Or should I say was, now that they've separated. She was very humble in that marriage. And I've noticed that most African women, successful African women, always want to prove that they are loyal and submissive in a marriage. And she did that too in an interview. Second richest woman, Folorunsho Alakija, has revealed she still washes her husband's undies until recently. This interview was in 2017. And I quote, "My husband is my best friend, biggest advisor and supporter. We've known each other for 40 years. This was in 2017, like I said. And I've been married for 37 years now with 4 boys. These are grown-up men today with their children, with children of their own. I still wash his undies until 6 years ago that he insisted I should stop. I also prepare his special vegetable dish and do his manicure and pedicure regularly. I go to pick him whenever he's returning from foreign trips. It gives me joy whenever his friends praise my vegetable dish based on what my husband tells them." Can you beat that? This marriage was set in stone. A woman of that status, still washing her husband's undies and proudly declaring it to the public. Cooking his special vegetable dish, doing his manicure and pedicure when she can afford the best. She's doing it herself to prove her loyalty, her humility, and love for her husband. Now, this same woman is leaving this man. What could have happened? One can only imagine what could have happened. One can only stretch their imagination, which I will be doing. Why do old couples split after many years together? It is called a grey divorce when a divorce happens between an old couple, people from 65, senior citizens, people from 65 and above. Because you expect that at that age, you'll be sitting on the couch with your legs on the footstool and thinking about the past, reminiscing about how good life was. Or in their case, because they have money, they'll be traveling the world, going to see their grandchildren, having fun because they can't afford it. But no, they decided to go their separate ways. There is something I noticed about the Alakijas. After she found God, after she started ministering across Nigeria and beyond, her husband disappeared from her side. He used to be by her side, but he disappeared. Not a lot of men can accept, or people don't accept sometimes when their spouses become very religious. Some people cannot stand it because sometimes the fun in the relationship drops tremendously. If you're an outgoing couple, you used to go out, have a drink, go to the country club to have a drink, and one of the spouses stop. Maybe Folorunsho Alakija stopped going out again for a drink. And Modupe Alakija, that man knows how to have fun, even at his age. There was a time he was in the news when he had an altercation with someone at Ikoyi Club, the country club to which they both belong. He had an altercation with somebody, he slapped somebody there, and he got suspended. That was the last time we even saw him on the news, apart from now. He slapped somebody. That will tell you that he's a no-nonsense person. He may have been a romantic husband, but he doesn't take rubbish. If you give it to him, he's going to give you basketballs back. So he hit somebody and he was suspended from the club. Could it be that she was keeping up a front throughout the marriage and decided to live her truth finally? Tired of pretending that all was well in that marriage and said, you know what? I'm a child of God. I can't keep pretending. I can't keep lying. Let me just go. Or you go. This is my house. Okay, go. He still lives in Ikoyi, but in a different home with domestic staff. She's on her own with domestic staff. What would cause an old couple, the wife is 72, husband is 74, to split at a time when they need each other most? There's the empty nester syndrome. You know what an empty nest is? When a bird hatches her eggs and they fly away, the nest becomes empty. So when a couple, after bringing up their children, the children grow up and become adults and start their own families, the couple is left alone. That's an empty nest. They become empty nesters. At that point, they start to see each other and their flaws become magnified. Before then, it was all about the children. The focus is on the children, their well-being, their development. Everything's about the children. So you don't notice you have a lot of differences. But when the children are not there, it's just two of you, a lot of bickering could play out. And maybe the center could no longer hold, and they decided to go their separate ways. What if also, in their case, he wasn't involved in the things of the Lord like she was? He wasn't invested in the ministry. And she got tired. And you know what the Bible says? If your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. Pluck it out. Your husband could be that eye. Pluck it out as a reproach and throw it away. What if? Because don't let that spouse or that marriage lead you to hell. What if? The problem of intimacy can also cause great divorce. One could have their libido still vibrant, while the other one may have retired. Then the one who is still active will go out there and be active, and the one inside will like, no, you can't be cheating on me. I won't have this. You can't be messing with people. I'm hearing, you can't be messing with the staff. I'm not saying he did, though. I'm just trying to imagine, because it could be one of these reasons. And so she said, to your tent, to Israel. It could also be for financial reasons. Somebody who can wash her husband's undies can also have a joint account with her husband. Maybe monies were not adding up. She could no longer take it, so she told him to go. We could reason it from now to tomorrow, but until we hear from the woman or the man, we can't draw conclusions. Then I'm thinking, can they come back together? It is possible. You never know with married couples who share a history, and they had a very long history. It is my hope that they can come back together. It is my hope that their children can bring them together. But it is tough to get an old couple to come back together, because they must have drifted apart for a long time emotionally before they decided that let us just do so physically. Maybe they were living in the same house and in separate wings, and the woman decided, I am done with this charade. I want to be in my own house by myself. Go your own way. No matter how we look at it, no matter how we consider the factors, it is quite heartbreaking, because they had a marriage that was a model to younger couples. And it is frightening, because you never know when the end would come. Because we always think that our grandparents are going to stay together until one survives the other. till death do us part. After 47 years, you are separated. It is disappointing and also scary to other couples. I do hope they can come back together because they looked good together. But if they can't, I wish them all the best going forward. Thank you so much for watching this episode. And don't forget to share to your friends. I'll see you on the next video. Bye now.